Oh, excuse me. Oh, living up to the name of the show. Welcome to bullshit. Part 2. Oh, let me put the headphones on. Wow.
That makes it feel better. When I undid that, I almost flipped it again.
Oh, so yeah, we're gonna try to use a
Hourglass.
There you go. Which is weird because you said you think that it's a half an hour. So the half hour glass.
Yeah, there we go.
We're gonna use a half hour glass to try to keep ourselves on a timer today.
Weed is hitting strong.
So for me or you?
For you.
Yes.
Oh, I just smell it. Goddamn.
Yeah, excuse me. Wanted to live up to the name of the show. Welcome to Bullshit, where I smoke a bowl and you don't.
I just chill.
And then I talk about whatever happens to come out. So before we get going, let's thank our sponsors, Pixel Popcorn Media Group and Unscripted Studios. Thank you for your continued loyalty and support.
God.
So, water. That's gonna be key here in about 37 seconds.
See, I forgot mine, so.
Oh yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just an experiment at this point.
Yeah.
So I think we left off at the table, right?
Yes. Yeah. You had just basically met Chris and Ryan.
Yeah. Oh, so so we're gonna change Ryan's name for the purpose of this going forward. Just
Call him Jake.
We'll call him Rian. So we're sitting at the table, Chris and Rian, and
I can't wait till you get tired of doing that. You're just like, so anyways.
yeah. Well, the good thing is that Rian fades out kind of early. So. So yeah, I'm sitting at the table, and I had showed up to this place, and I was interviewing for a landscape job on a golf course, and I thought that sounded very straightforward and something that I knew that I could do. I can mow a lawn. I don't like it.
No, but it's easy.
But I can do it. I lived in Florida, and we had in my house that I had to mow, the last house I had to mow lawns at. We had this swamp. The same one I lit on fire with a firework one year. That's the whole swamp. Dude. Anyways, that's a
story for a different time.
That's a whole different thing. But yeah, there was such a steep grade going down into that swamp, and my dad would be like, "You have to mow it down to the swamp," and I think that was just just torture.
Well, yeah, he's like.
He probably is looking out the window laughing.
Yeah, just like this fucking idiot actually doing it,
drinking a beer. Well, I do that.
Curls.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so really strong right arm. Repetitions, 12 ounces at a time. And it's like a drop set when you're drinking beer with the 12-ounce curls because
it lower and lower.
Yeah, and then you start over. So, I mean, this type of training is something that I think it's good.
It's conducive.
Yeah, strong beer arms and a big fat gut.
I mean, shit, strong right.
Until you get hit with the left.
The weapon's left.
So yes, exactly. So watch out for Frankie.
That'd be awesome. That's what your dad's name was.
It's Chris, actually.
I know.
So yeah, Chris is actually kind of a name in my life. Most of the Chris's that I have met, I have liked. I even have a funny. I haven't met. I even have a funny joke I played on a stage manager. I think I told you the story.
Oh, yeah.
And he was such a needy stage manager, and he would come up to me for the most absurd things. And I remember we were at happened to be at the Portalet area of the festival site at the time together, not to piss. I think we were just walking around, and they had these little stairs for the portalets for the patrons. So
fancy.
Yeah, because it was sand, and so I see drunk people tripping in and out of portalets is probably a bad look.
I mean, the stairs going out might be also a bad idea, but
yeah, it worked out. But so he wanted me to build him a set of these stairs. I was like, no, for his stage portalet. I was like, no, I don't have time to do that. He physically wanted me to do it.
Right.
I was like, no.
Boss.
Yeah, and so Well, so the producer's his boss.
Oh, okay.
I'm the labor guy. So I do get asked to do a lot of like weird things on the job sites, and I would just don't do it.
Well, you got other shit to do.
You know, and so he asks for so many things, and then if I give him a certain, like, I'll give him a great crew, but he will just learn one person's name, and then exploit that one person for like the entire show call.
So they get fucked.
And so I'm at the Hangout Music Festival in Alabama, and I'm looking at my crew. I'm building my crew for the show calls, and I'm like, I'm gonna do something a little devious for this show call. And so I'm looking through my crew list, and I see a consistency with a one name. On my crew, I had like 15 Chris's and one Christian. Okay.
There's a distinction.
And so, but see, you still have to say Chris to say Christian.
Right.
So I go, oh, how many people does he need on his stage? And I looked, and I was like, this couldn't be better. I gave him literally every single Chris on my crew and the Christian.
Yep.
And so every time all weekend that he would say Chris, every single person would turn around. And so it kind of was counterintuitive to what he likes to do. And I just sat back and watched. I was like,
well, then didn't you say your business partner, Chris, like, he would get like calls on the radio sometimes and he would kind of fuck with them too?
Yeah, I mean, there's always running jokes between us. So, like, because I would always tell him what I'm going to do, because potentially going to upset someone. I'm like, I think you should know.
Right. I did this
if
intentionally.
You're looking for Chris, he's on stage 2, and he's like, which Chris? I'm like, all of the Chris's.
And Christian.
They're there. Anyway, I digress. That's like way later into the story, because I think at that point we'd probably already been in business for about 7 or 8 years. So,
gotcha.
But so I'm sitting at this table with Chris and
Rian,
and you know, I realized there is not the landscaping job, but Chris has told me that they have something else I can do, and so I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever. I didn't.
I'm already here for an interview. Might as well just I'll take whatever.
Yeah, I didn't care, and I had driven like 45 minutes to that interview. It was all the way up on Kyrene and Ray, I think.
Fuck.
It's like way up there. So I'm way up there, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, just give me whatever.
Ironically enough, that would be the same long drive I would have to do every single day at first when I started working for Chris, because the first thing I started doing for him was hand sanding trim wood pieces for the Hollister Clothing Company.
Okay.
And all of their trim.
Yeah.
So all of their baseboards, all of their crown moldings, all of their every fucking piece of wood in every fucking store.
Only because my sister's a bitch. I mean, she's never watched this. But because we got dragged to some of those stores,
Yeah.
did a great job.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, because it couldn't just sand it. I had to like
hands
weather it and make it look like it would have been and all of that. And so, and they use brown paint.
Yep.
You know, so I'm doing this in the summer in a warehouse in Arizona with just the door rolled up.
Yep, been there.
With a block sander. If anybody's ever used one of those
They're
things,
the most uncomfortable fucking things to hold.
Yeah, so imagine doing miles and miles and miles of wood trim with that thing.
Well, and it's funny because it's like you almost have a better shot of doing it just like with the sandpaper.
Yeah, no, I use that sometimes too.
I was gonna say, but then the problem with that is if you go too quick, then it heats up and then you burn your hand.
No, there's a whole plus you're already at 120 degrees weather, so it's like friction and fire and all that is.
It sucks.
And so I'm doing this, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
you know, it doesn't matter. I'm just doing. I'm like a robot at this point. Board done.
Yeah.
I came up with a system and how to like strike it in certain places. Then I would flip the board on the table and do it like. And I had a whole thing.
Yeah, you got creative with it.
And you know, and I was working like a machine. And so the end of the day, I'm covered in brown paint, like dust all over me, like up the arms, down everything. And so
real quick, you're like, I'm not gonna wear nice clothes to this.
Yeah, well, I don't have nice clothes anyways. Like I've never been like
you just bought some pants.
I did buy some pants. Yeah, first pants in years. Yeah, that
And
was
then there's me.
that was a thing.
Only wears pants.
Yeah, zero shorts.
Yep. You've seen a glimpse of my leg. You know it's too white.
Oh yeah, man. Actually, Jimmy turns off his light when you get tattoos on your legs. He's
I
like,
produce enough light.
yeah, he's like, it's luminescent. I got this. It's like a backlit. Like, what are those things called that the artist drawn that is lit table?
Oh, like a light board?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Your leg is like that. He can just see. It's like put the
it's
stencil
like, that's
down.
cool.
It's like, God damn, this is amazing. This is like when I come into Vegas with all the lights are on. That's not actually accurate.
No,
That's
it'd
just
be funny as fuck if it was.
total embellishment. But yeah, so I'm sanding these boards and covered in brown paint, and I would go and talk to Chris at the end of the shift because he was doing his officing out of that warehouse, and so. I mean, put into context that the job that I was doing before this was insanely serious and intense, and now I'm sanding boards. So, no, I don't have a deadline that I'm aware of. I didn't like Hollister's not like if you don't get these boards done, we can't open our next 47 stores or whatever. I just knew there was an endless amount of it. There was racks and racks and racks and racks and racks of the shit. So like
kept you busy all day.
For a whole month, I think, or 2. I can't remember exactly how long, but so I would go up to Chris covered in brown paint, looking like a fucking human turd, and I'm like, hey man, I was like, I'm really super appreciative for the job. It's straightforward. I'm doing work, which is nice,
yeah,
and so thank you, but I can do a lot of other stuff. I could do a lot of I could do anything you want, really. I was like, I could help you schedule, I could help you book, I could do this, I could do that. I told him what I used to do. He's like, okay, yeah, cool, okay, and then put me back on the sanding.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, cool. I can do sanding too.
You're like, I'm real good at it.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's praising my work on the other side of these boards, but I'm telling you, I'm putting my all into it. And so this went on for like 2 or 3 weeks with the sanding of the boards, and me going and talking to him and be like, I could really do
anything else,
like anything, like fucking anything else, anything. And so, finally he listened to me, and that was cool. So, so the next day when I came into work, he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, it's good. And, he goes, here, and he hands me something, and I'm like not really awake. The drive, I have to leave because I feel like we started at 7:00 our shift.
Oh shit!
Right, and so it's a 45-minute drive, and so I'm not like probably didn't have enough coffee for me to mentally be thinking.
So you had less than 5 cups.
Yeah, and so he hands me something, and I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, it's a paint suit." And I was like, all right.
It's a little different.
Yeah, all right, cool. So I'm going to be doing something different. And
just sanding in it.
He takes me, right? Yeah, he felt bad about the brown. He's like, bro, here, save your clothes. Here's a paint suit, which would have actually been great, except I probably would have died of heat exhaustion.
They warm up very quick.
In that capacity. I would have fallen down like that comedian Martin Lawrence. Do you remember he did that? I don't know if it was for a movie role or something, but he was like running through the streets of LA with trash bags and sweatpants on.
Bad Boys?
And I don't know. It was just in a day.
Oh,
like it wasn't for
he was trying to work
during the movie. Yeah, he was doing. I don't know. Yeah, he fell down the street. Like it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And so he hands me the paint suit and he says, "Put it on." I'm like, "Cool." And then he takes me to the room where we paint the boards for Hollister. And I was like, man, I'm still on this, huh? I'm like, all right. He goes, you ever used a paint gun? I'm like, nope. He goes, here you go. Shh,
point and shoot.
Do it. I'm like, got you. And so I started painting the boards. And ironically enough, there was another guy that was teaching me to use the paint gun. His name was fucking Chris. And his last name was like Golke or something like that. Goehlke. Like a really...
Sure.
interesting name, I remember.
Very European.
He's the guy that took me to have my first like Mexican food in Arizona.
Okay.
Because I was still fresh off the boat, you know.
Do you remember where it was?
No.
Oh damn.
But it was way up there by Kyrene and wherever. So like if we went up to that area, I'm sure it's still there. But it's the first time that I had a hot sauce that wasn't
Cholula.
Tabasco.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Florida was slow to the party getting
shit.
hot sauces like that. Like, I do not remember those things being available. Or maybe, you know, there wasn't a lot of hot sauce in my house or something. I don't know. But I remember having my world history teacher, Mr. Dykes, was obsessed with Tabasco. Like, he had a tie.
It's not
and
that good,
all
though.
the,
To me, it's one of the worst hot sauces.
Yeah, it's not. It's too vinegar forward for me.
Which is, again, I love vinegar. I just don't like Tabasco.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, so I'm trying new things.
Yeah.
I'm in Arizona trying new things, and I'm painting boards and still brown at the end of every single day.
Right.
And I would go talk to him again and be like, really,
anything else?
anything else? Has it really been 30 minutes? Oh no, there's a
lot of
sand in that thing. And that's trippy. The light hits it, and it's like, is there sand in there? And so, I'm telling him I could do anything else. And he keeps having me paint, and I'm like, it's fine. I'm at least working.
Right.
And at this point, I had gotten paid at least twice, I think. So I was like, well, get paychecks.
Yeah. It's consistent.
So that's cool. I like paychecks, and I haven't felt like I've gotten scammed about what I'm doing.
Right.
And so labor just never scared me. I've been doing it all my life.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, back to when I couldn't sweep for my dad. But I did other things really great.
Other labor you can do. Sweeping? No.
Yeah, like you give me a pile of cinder blocks to carry, man, I'll fuck those things up.
Right.
I'll carry that shit for 10 hours with a smile on my face. I'll put them wherever you want me to put them. I'll move them twice. I don't care. Just don't make me sweep, man. Don't make me do it. I feel like that's a good trade-off, though. I feel like anybody on the job site would be like, wait, so you carry all the cinder blocks and I sweep?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's 100%.
And I think, too, it also sets people apart where if it's like, oh, like, I need you to do labor. The people that are like, it's like, all right.
Yeah, if you come with a wince or a heavy sigh when labor gets mentioned, I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel back.
Yeah. Like, oh, cool. So thanks for this interview.
Yeah. I'm like, where on my site do you want me to put you? Because you got to earn the paperwork positions.
Yeah.
You have to show me that you have the aptitude to understand what's going on outside for me to put you in the office where you have the ability to manipulate what goes on outside.
Right.
It's just a logical thing to me. Anyway. Yeah, so finally I forget how he phrased it to me, but he gave me a different opportunity. I knew I had a different opportunity, and I had to dress. I feel like I had to wear show blacks or something. So like, basically, it's just a button-down Dickies black shirt, and Dickies shorts or whatever. Basically, you look like a worker in full blacks. So that you fade into the background of whatever set you might be, because a lot of these things that I started doing in the beginning were corporate events. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I could do that. And I show up at, I think it was at the JW Marriott.
It's a nice hotel.
It's a very nice hotel. And that's even farther than where I was driving before, I think, or at least equal in time, but more annoying because I got to deal with all the highways and the crazy people. And so I get there, and I had a lead, somebody that I was supposed to meet up with, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. I knew I had to bring a crescent wrench, like a multi-tool, and that's it.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to cut things and wrench things.
Right.
I don't know.
Pretty straightforward.
I don't.
Sounds of it.
Yeah, and I don't really go into things with high expectations. I'm like, I've never really fucked a whole lot of stuff up with a crescent wrench in my life. Like, I'll use it.
Right.
But and so we get there and we're doing like a lighting gig, like a corporate lighting gig thing, and basically taking these giant ballrooms and turning it into a desert landscape with props, and then doing ground lighting. And then putting lighting on truss on the ground that then we run up with motors, and you focus that from above to give yourself like this desert landscape idea, so that when people walk in, they're like, "Whoa!
Oh my God, this is what it's really like."
Yeah, and we had like a saloon, and
cool.
there was like a whole thing, like a whole town type thing that we put into, and it
Was
was
it big enough for 2 people?
well, yeah, oh, that's okay. That went over my head at first. I'm
Yeah,
like, it was big
it's a
enough
bad
for
joke.
more than 2 people.
Yeah, no, bad joke. Continue.
But yeah, so there was multiple stations, and we were doing it, and I'm like, okay, now this is cool. I can dig it. I was working on ladders. I'm not afraid of heights, and then I got to work in a what are those little fuckers called? The thing that has a platform with wheel. You drive it around a ballroom. It's got the, anyways.
I was like a Zamboni.
Oh, a scissor lift.
Oh,
A scissor
okay.
lift. I got to work in the scissor lift, and I was like, all right, like
cool.
I could dig it because I like doing stuff.
Well, yeah.
You know, I don't like sitting at a desk and answering a phone. It's just not my
No, it's boring. It's
forte.
very repetitive.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like, oh, every day is going to be a little different. Even if it's the same task, it's like, well, it's different about how I go about this task.
Right. And then I got to also pretty immediately see the product of my work.
Yeah.
You know, and so I do that job, and I thought it went all right. I thought it went well. And then I saw Chris, and he's like, I'm going to send you here to do this. And I'm like, okay. And I went and I did that, and I did a couple jobs. And then I ended up working the very first time for one of his clients. Name is called PEP, Pacific Events Productions.
Gotcha.
And I went to that warehouse, and I'm just kind of chilling on the docks. And now at this point, I've unloaded and loaded enough trucks that I feel comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a warehouse capacity prior, so, you know, it's not my industry. It doesn't take a lot of time to at least get street cred or street smarts
yeah.
and feel comfortable about the way things move and should flow, because it's a very, you know, methodical, functional thing.
Right.
You know, you don't do it a lot of different ways. It's just you do
This
it.
is how you do it.
And
Yeah.
it works. And if you do it wrong, it didn't work, and then you got to chase down your mistake, like with lighting or with video or audio, any of it. It's just because you did something wrong in the process. The high end stuff on the other side, you know, that takes skill, but plugging things in correctly, you know, it should be easy. And so, so I had a few jobs done, and I'm at the PEP warehouse at this point. And then one of the things they make you do is they make you drive to their warehouse, and then they make you drive their box trucks to their job site. That way, at the end of the day, when you pack it up and you drive it back to the warehouse, like you're responsible for it the whole time, and they don't have to stay there and wait. And so it's basically putting your gear in the hands of strangers, essentially.
I mean, you know, at least you know who's liable if something goes wrong.
Yeah, and so we went to do a job, and I didn't drive the truck because it was my first time. So I don't remember who I was with. It was probably Rion, just because we had been sanding boards together all summer. Like he was on that beat with me, which I thought was funny because he was at the table. But then the next day when I showed up to sand the boards, there he was too, and I was like, all right, so you're just a guy.
Right.
So Chris is the guy.
Yeah,
you're just
he's boss man.
a guy. And so, you know, in my mind, I'm like thinking, well, I'm brand new, but you've put me directly in competition with this man.
Right.
You know, I know I can outperform him at sanding boards.
Wow.
And so, anyways, we did that job and then left, and I was like, oh God, that was tedious. Working with that particular company, you know, there was a lot of changes. There was a lot of doing things over and over and over again. And you're like, if we would have just communicated the first time, this would have gone differently.
Way smoother.
And so then I got to do one of those jobs on my own. And there was a different lead. It wasn't Rion at the time. And it was some other guy. And I'm unloading this truck by myself, basically. I'm taking stuff in. I'm coming back, and I'm like, where is everyone? Like, what the is going on with this shit right now? I'm not going to unload this whole truck by myself.
No, it's fucking annoying.
And so I went, and I found, you know, 2 or 3 people hiding in breakout rooms in the resort, and then one person fucking off over here and one over there. And I basically got the whole crew back together. I'm like, guys, help me unload this truck. I'm not doing it alone.
Right.
And put everybody to work. But that's always how it's been. Naturally, like, there's just a job to get done. I'm going to take charge. Let's do the job, and then let's go home, And so I think we're at the halfway mark, or the 30-minute mark. So I'll try to wrap it up. But, so that happens, and the job gets done, and I guess it gets done quickly and efficiently because the next interaction I had with Chris was super awkward. And we'll end here after this. So I show up to get my paycheck, and Chris is there, and he hands it to me, and he's like, "Hey, so what are you doing?" And I was like, "What? I just came to get my paycheck."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, but what are you doing?" I was like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
You tell me.
I just came to get my paycheck. That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot to say because I don't know.
Well, because it's kind of an ambiguous question.
Right. I'm like, and then he's like, "No, but what are you doing?"
You're like, in life?
And I was like, "Do you mean like right now? Do you need me, like, do you have something?" I'm basically, if you want me to go to work, I'll go to work, And he goes, "No, what are you doing on my job sites?" And I was like,
oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Then so my brain starts to turn. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm working, I don't know. And so I said, I don't know. I said, I'm working. I said, I just work. It's a pretty easy job.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but what are you doing on my job sites that my client says they want the crew, but only if you're there?
Nice.
And so it clicked in my head. I was like,
I'm taking charge.
I'm like, well, I'm making everybody work.
Yeah.
And I explained to him where they all were, what they were all doing, and then I put them all back to work. And he's like, and they listened? I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to do all the work by myself. I was like, so yeah, they all went to work. End of story. And he kind of just like looked at me, like gave me that kind of half-cocked look, like, who are you? And maybe some of the months of me telling him I could do other stuff started to click, and he's like,
oh shit,
what can he do?
Right.
And so that kind of started the beginning of our relationship, and I think this is a good place to end for sure.
Sounds good.
So
stay tuned for part 3.
Yeah, part 3 of a series that might go on forever. Who knows? But
got at least 17 years of stories.
There are some lot of stories in there, especially when we get to the pirates. But yeah, so do the subscribe thing if you enjoyed what you saw today. I'm gonna try to be less jerky in my chair in the future. Tell one friend about it that you think might see how absurd this is and enjoy it too. And peace. Happy Friday.
Bye-bye.